Okay, guys. So the objectives of the day, we have to get started with range function. As you all can see on my screen here, if you do need to iterate over a sequence of numbers, the built-in function range comes very handy. It generates arithmetic progressions. So we are going to understand what is range function and how it offers and generates arithmetic progressions and how we can iterate over a sequence of numbers using range function. So let's get started with Google Collaboratory. We are going to open collab.research.google.com. Let's get started with the new Python 3 notebook. We'll start with new Python 3 notebook. And we're going to name it as control flow statements. So the first function which we are going to use and the objectives. So let's quickly click the object, write the objectives first. So we have to iterate over a range of numbers, or we can also call it as over a sequence of numbers using range function. So this is the first objective which we have to accomplish. We have to iterate over a range or sequence of numbers using range function. So first of all, let me just quickly give you a help of what range function is. So you can quickly write range function and you can put a question mark before it so that you can read out help from Google Collaboratory itself. Let's run it. So once we run, we have to be connected to Google Compute Engine backend. Once we are connected, we are going to get some RAM and hard disk space wherein our applications will run. Now, when we have executed range function, you have got the help section here. So within help, the syntax is you have to quickly call range function, followed by you have to provide a number. And with respect to document string, as you all can see here, whenever you define a range function, you have to give a numerical value inside. So there are two syntaxes which you can follow. If you have a stop range defined, so you can specify the number. Let's say if we specify a number like 5, so you're going to get a range up till value 5 starting from position number 0. But if you want to give a custom range, then you can define start and stop. So you can, let's say if you want to create a range between 10 to 20, then start value can be 10 and stop value can be 20. Moreover, you can further customize it by providing a step value as well. So step is equivalent to increment counter. So suppose you want to get the values printed from a range from 10 to 20 and you want to skip one element. So what you can do is, let's say if you want to print something like 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and finally 20. So in that case, you can quickly define step and step value could be 2. So we are going to observe it. Now, as you all can see, range function return an object that produces a sequence of integers from start. So the value which you are going to provide in start, it is going to be inclusive. Inclusive means it is going to be printed. Okay. And you're going to define a stop value, but stop value will not be included within the range object. Stop value is exclusive. Okay. Followed by you have to provide a step using which you can quickly define a custom increment or decrement operator. So suppose you specify a function like this, range I comma j. So this is going to produce an object somewhat starting from I, followed by increment I plus 1, I plus 2, and up till a range of j minus 1. Okay. So this means J is exclusive, and I is inclusive in the range object. I hope this is clear to everyone. Please confirm me on chat. Okay, great. So whenever you will call range function, you have to specify a start value and a stop value. Start value will be inclusive and stop value will be exclusive. Now, if you do not specify a start value, so the default value from where your range starts will be 0. And the stop value is omitted. That means the stop value is exclusive. It will not be available in the range itself. So for an example, let's say if you print a range up till a value of 4. So 4 here is the stop value. So the starting value will be 0 followed by an increment by 1, and it will go up till j minus 1. So if j is equal to 4, the last value printed will be j minus 1, which is equivalent to 3. So this is how you define range function. So these are exactly the valid indices for a list of 4 elements. So when step is given, it specifies the increment or decrement operator. So increment, you can quickly specify a number with positive sign. In case if you want to decrement, you can quickly define a number with negative sign. So let's see how we are going to use it and how we are going to process it. So let's get started. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to print an objective. So we have to create a range object from 10 to 20. Okay. So here, start value, which you can consider as I, is going to be 0. Oh, sorry, is going to be 10. And stop value, which you can consider as J, is going to be 20. Okay. And you have to define a function in this format wherein you have to range from I comma J. And you're going to get an object, and the object is going to hold values between 10 to 20. And finally, we are going to print using a for loop. Okay. So as you have already done for loop in the previous session, you will be able to iterate over all the elements in the range function or else in the range object, and you're going to print all those values out. So let's see. So let's go ahead. So now we are going to specify a range value. I'm going to define a start value. I'm going to define a stop value, and let's run this cell. So when we run this cell, you have got a range object created between 10 to 20. Now, what next you're going to do? You're going to iterate over all the elements. Iterate over all the elements in range object. Okay. So how we can do that? You can quickly write a for loop. Let's say for integer I in, or you can also call it as for number in range object between 10 to 20, and we are going to print the values for number out. Okay, everyone, let's run it and let's see what we're going to get in the output. So when you do that, you can see that you have got the elements printed between the range from 10 to 20. Is this clear till here? Clear to everyone? Have you all understood? So this is the input, and that's the output. Okay, so as you all can see, you have printed a range between 10 to 20, and by default, the step is 1. So you have got values printed in sequence. All the participants, please confirm me on chat if this is clear to everyone. Okay, great. I'm getting Stack Overflow. So you need to check the error in the last line. Yeah, so you may have written a bad syntax. Quickly check the line number, on what line number you have got this error, as well as you can quickly share your screen with us so that I'll be able to debug your issue. So let me stop share. Uday Virat, you can share your screen with us. Okay. So the problem is, could you increase the size of your screen a little? The first, in line number 2, you have written for number in range 10, 20, and you have not specified the scope resolution. There should be a double colon after 10, 20 bracket. There should be a single colon actually. No, no, not here. At the end. Colon symbol, colon. As well as you have unnecessarily you have added one extra line after that range function. It should not be like that. There is no line breaks, as you all can see. So we have written this for number in range 10, 20, and there is a colon symbol here, followed by, in your case, you have entered one extra line. So this is not the format. You need to provide two indentation spaces followed by the function which you want to be called within for loop. Is it clear now? Is it working? Okay. So now let's see. Let's go to the next code cell. So once you have got this range printed, so let's say now we are going to create a range object with a stop value. So consider we're going to have a stop value. Let's say stop value is going to be 40. Okay. Or else let's say stop value is going to be 10. We are going to loop from 0 to 10. So in this case, default start value is going to be 0 and end value in range object is going to be j minus 1, which is 10 minus 1, which is equal to 9. Okay. So let's see. Let's print that. So now I'm going to define a range function and I'm going to specify a value 10. And I would like to loop through all the numbers in this range object. So for number in range 10, I would like to print the numbers. Okay. So when I do this, we get a value starting from 0 up till j minus 1, 0 to 9. Okay. So this code is equivalent to, for integer I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. So mostly in other programming languages, we define a loop like this. For integer I is equal to 0, I less than 10, and I plus plus. So similarly, in Python programming, we do not follow this syntax. Okay. In Python programming, we do not follow this syntax. So an alternative syntax for these kind of loops, whenever you have to create a loop somewhat like this, then an alternative function and an alternative way to print the values or to create a for loop with increment operator is this. Using range, you can do that. I hope this is clear. Is this clear to all the participants?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay, let's go ahead. Now what we're going to do, let's add a new code cell. Now what you're going to do, now you're going to write a function wherein you have to create a for loop similar to this function. So for integer I is equal to 10. Okay. And until unless I is less than 2. जब तक 2 से छोटा नहीं हो जाता, sorry, I greater than 2. Okay. जब तक I 2 से बड़ा है तब तक हम ये लूप चलाते जाएंगे, and we have to do something like I minus minus. Okay. So an equivalent function in Python you can quickly write like this. For I in range, you can start from the range object 10. Okay. The stop value can be 1, and you have to increment with a negative sign. You have to decrement with a negative sign. So now if you are going to print this value, you're going to print I. And let's run it and check. So when you do that, you've got a value printed something like this, from 10 till 2. Okay. So here, this is the first one. This is the start value 10, which is inclusive. This is the stop value, which is exclusive. And this is the increment or decrement operator. So by default, increment is 1. In case if you want to go for decrement, then you can specify -1, or else you can specify any specific positive or negative value so as to have the proper increment or decrement. Okay, clear to all? Okay, fine. Now, let's proceed further. So now what you are going to do, let's go for another code. Now this time you're going to create a range function with a start value 20, with a stop value 30. The 30 is going to be exclusive, and you're going to increment the values by 3. You have to step by 3. So let's do that. For number in range, start value 20, stop value 30, and you have to increment by 3. So you're going to print number. So this function is equivalent to something like this. For integer I is equal to, or let's say for number, for integer num is equal to 20 until and unless num is smaller than 30. Num is equal to num plus 3. You are incrementing number by 3. So when we print, you're going to get the output somewhat like this: 20 plus 323 plus 326 plus 329. Okay, clear to everyone? Great. Now let's see. So here, as you all can see, you have got these values. Moreover, you can also create a range with negative numbers also. Okay, so let's just test that. Let's add a new code cell. Create a range function with negative values. So let's say I would like to go from -10 to -20, and I would like to decrement by 2. So I'm going to print number, and let's call for number in range. So if we run these values, we have got -10, -12, -14, -16, -18. And 20 being an exclusive number, hence it's not printed. Okay, are you all done till here? Great. Now let's see. Okay, now let's see. So to iterate over the indices of a sequence, let's say if you want to extract all the elements out with their index value, what you can do, you may have a list of some words. You can take the length of that list so that you're going to get the number of elements in it, and then you can print. You can iterate over that range object using for loop, and you can print the indexes as well as the word out. Okay, now let's see. So let's go here and let's write a function. So this time we're going to add a new code cell. We're going to iterate over a sequence of elements by indexes, by indices. So suppose we have a list of names and we have a few people available. Let's say we have Sresh, we have, let me just check the names. We have Uday Virat. Okay. Let's say we have Vanshi, we have Harshita, Neha. So we have we have 5 names available in the list. Now we are going to iterate over the elements by indices. So we are going to get the length of names. So we are going to get a number. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. So we are going to get the length of names as 5. So we are going to iterate using a range object. So let's say the stop value is 5. You're going to get the values printed from 0 to 4 because by default, the value will be 0, the starting position will be 0, and the stop position will be j minus 1. So let's call it as index. Let's say for index in range of this length, we are going to print the value of index, comma. From this names list, we have to get the element out available on that index. So as you all can see here, we have iterated over a number of elements. And post iteration, we have printed the index and we have fetched the element available on that index under the names list. Okay, let's run it. So once you run, now you can see that you've got all the indices printed correctly. So as we can see, Sresh is at index number 0, Uday Virat is on index number 1, Vanshi is on index number 2, Harshita is on index number 3, and so on. Okay. I hope this is clear to everyone. Please confirm me on chat. Okay. So now you're done with iteration over the range object, as well as you know how to iterate over a list of elements as well. Okay. Both ways you are able to implement the for loop. Also, you guys know how you can increment and decrement and how you can create custom for loops, like for integer I is equal to 0, I less than a value, and I plus plus or I negative negative. Okay. So now let's go to the next. So now as you all can read here, in most cases, however, it is convenient to use the enumerate function, which you will explore under looping techniques. Okay. So there is an enumerate function also, which we can use. Now you can see a strange thing happens if you just print a range. So if you print a range, you're going to get a range object. Instead of the values, you're going to get a range value with a starting position and with a stop position. In many ways, the object returned by range behave as if it is a list, but in fact it is not. It is an object which returns the successive items of desired sequence when you iterate over it, but it doesn't really make the list, thus saving space. So instead of creating a list, it's always better to use your range object, which is actually an object that does not create a list, hence it takes less space on the memory, on the storage. So range, we also call range is an iterable object that is suitable as a target for functions and constructs that expect something from which they can obtain successive items until the supply is exhausted. we have seen that for statement is such an iterator. The function list is another. It creates list from iterables. Okay. So now what you can do, let's say you can specify a range of elements and you can quickly make a list out of it. So list is going to iterate over all the elements and it's going to add all of them onto a list. So you can create a list in such way as well. So let's say we are going to test it now. Okay. So let's say I say I want to create a list of even numbers. Okay. You have to create a list of even numbers. So we are going to quickly take a range. We'll start from 2. We'll end up to, let's say, 100. We're going to increment by 2. Okay. So this is going to give you a range object, which is an iterable. But now you can use a list function to iterate over all the elements within the range object and form a new list of even numbers. So if I run it, you can see that we have got a list from 2 to 100. Because 100 is exclusive, so we have got up till 98. Okay, is that clear? Okay, is that clear to everyone? Please confirm me on chat. Okay, now let's see. Now post this. Now you have to undergo break and continue statements and else clauses on loops. Okay. So the break statement in C programming breaks out of the innermost closing. Okay. For or while loop. Okay. Loop statements may have an else clause. It is executed when the loop terminates through exhaustion of the list or when the condition becomes false, but not when the loop is terminated by a break statement. This is exemplified by the following loop, which searches for prime numbers. So you are going to understand break statement. Break statements is used under for and while loops. Okay, let's see. So now what you're going to do, you're going to get started with this program, wherein you're going to get a range of elements from 2 to 10. Okay, so this value will range from 2 up till 9. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take another variable and you are going to print up till 2 to 9. So first you're going to print from 2 to 2 to 2, 2 to 3, 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 2 to 6, 2 to 7, 2 to 8, like that. Then we are going to check if n mod x is equal to 0. Okay, so this means if the value x is able to divide the value n, then we are going to get, okay, we are going to get the number. Finally, we are going to print the value. Okay, and we have break the state. Post that, you can also create an else block wherein you can quickly specify when your loop fell through without finding a factor. Okay, so if the number can be divided by 2, or yeah, if the number can be divided, then it is going to be a not prime number. And if you cannot take n mod x is equal to 0, then it will be considered as a prime number. So 2 is a prime, 3 is a prime, 4 equals to 2 into 2, 5 equals to 5 is a prime number, 6 equals to 2 into 3, 7 is a prime number, 8 equals to 2 into 4, 9 equals to 3 into 3, somewhat like this. So this is how you will be able to check the prime numbers in Python. Okay. Okay. So let's write this code. So now you guys are going to create a program to read prime numbers. So you're going to create a program to read prime numbers in Python. So let's take for n in range. So you will take the values up till 9 or 10, up till 9 actually, because 10 is the stop value and it's exclusive. Then within this loop, you are going to get the value of x in range 2 till n. Okay. Then you are going to check if n mod x equal to 0. You are going to print n equals n into x. Okay. Followed by so once you reach here, you can break the statement. Okay. Once you break the statement, you will come out of the for loop. And here you can define another block, which is an else block. And you can quickly print n is a prime number. Any questions still here? Please confirm me on chat. So when we print, we get an output somewhat like this. Okay, so we actually have to take a floor division like that. So I'm going to let you know about floor divisions also, how that is done. Now when you run it, you're going to get the appropriate value. Okay, so this is how you can quickly verify how many numbers are prime and how many numbers are not prime. Okay, and quickly you can quickly take that up to a value of 100. So once you do that up till a value of 100, now you can see you have got 42 equals 2 into 21, 43 is a prime number, 47 is a prime number, then you have 53 is a prime number, 59 is a prime number, 61 is a prime number, then you have 67 is a prime number. There are so many different values which are prime. So 99 is not a prime number because it is 3 into 33. 98 is also not prime because it is 2 into 49. Okay. And 97 is a prime number. So this is how you can quickly print in out prime numbers out of a list of elements. Is this clear to everyone till here? Are you all clear with the code? Okay, great. Let's add a new code cell. Now, so you already understand the break statement as well as you understand that we can use else within the for loop as well. Okay. Now, the next statement is when used with a loop, the else clause has more in common with the else clause of a try statement than it does that of if statement. A try statement's else clause runs when no exception occurs, and the loop's else clause runs when no break occurs. Okay. For more on try statements and exceptions, we will explore handling exceptions. But as of now, let's explore the continue statement. So continue statement is also brought in Python programming from C language. And it continues with the next iteration of the loop. Okay, now here. So here what happens, let's say you have created a range of number between 2 to 10. You're going to check if n mod 2 is equal to 0. Then it is going to be an even number. Okay, and you're going to print the number. Followed by, you're going to face continue so that you'll land up to the next block. Okay. Okay, so when you click continue, you are again going to get into the loop, and the next value will be calculated. In case if the condition is not true, then we are going to print a number. Okay, so that's how you can also use continue statements in the programming language. So let's go for it. Let's implement continue language, continue keyword. So what we're going to do, we're going to implement continue statements in Python. Okay, suppose, so you have a number in range, let's say from 2 to 10. Okay, you have a number in range from 2 to 10. You need to check if your number mod 2 is equal to 0. You're going to print, let's say we are going to print number is an even number. Okay. Now, once we reach here, we need to come out of the if else block and we again need to go into the for loop. So for this, we are going to specify continue. And once we specify continue later, outside the if block, we are going to print another statement is a number. Okay. So let's run it. So once you run, you get the output. 2 is an even number. The loop continues. We go to the next range. It comes to the next range, we get 3. We get to need 3 is a number. 4 is an even number. 5 is a number. 6 is an even number. 7 is a number. And so on up till 9. Okay. Because we have specified the stop value as 10. And you understand that the stop value is always exclusive. Okay, everyone, please complete the code and let me know if you all are done till here. Okay, great. Very nice. So this is how you can explore between continue statements, break statements. You got to know within for loop also you can put in an else statement. You understand what is a range function. So these are the basics for programming with looping techniques as well as with break and continue statements. Now there are more features which has been brought in Python from C programming language. And one such statement is the pass statement. It does nothing. It can be used when a statement is required syntactically, but the program requires no action. Okay. Now let's see. So let's say you have an infinite loop. Consider while loop. So pass statement is not going to do anything. Your loop will continue. But as soon as you want to come out of the loop, as soon as you want to interrupt the loop, you can quickly press any of the keys on the keyboard and pass statement is going to be interrupted and you will be able to come out of the loop. Okay. Okay. So pass statement does nothing. just it is an alternative to writing a statement. Some large program, if you are not sure about the logic, you want to skip that statement for a while. Okay. And just to skip that statement, you can quickly pass in the past statement. And whenever you recall it, you can again go to the past statement and you can replace past statement with your actual uh, logic. Okay. Let's see. So let's understand the past statements. We'll consider past statements in 5. Okay. Okay. So let's get started with writing the past statement. Let's say I have created a while loop and this is an infinite loop. Okay. So this loop is going to run continuously and can define a past statement here. So when you define a past statement and when you run this cell, so you see, now this is an infinite loop which will continuously run. And you can see that processing here. So the loop is continuously running. Can you all see that? We are in a while loop and there is a past statement which we have defined. So past statement is an alternative to a logical statement. And whenever we write a big program, it happens that we need to update a logic of that algorithm or of the code, whatever we are writing in. And if during the development phase we do not remember that, we can quickly ignore that statement with a pass. Okay. And once you recall the logic, you can remove pass and you can specify your output there. Now, as soon as you perform a keyboard interrupt, let's say we use Control C. Okay. So this is how the statement is going to run, and we have got the keyboard interrupt done. Hence, we came out of the while loop. Moreover, suppose you are writing a program. Okay. Consider I'm writing a program for number in range 10 to 20. Okay. And at the moment, suppose I forgot, I don't want to write the print statement and I am going to write print statement later. Write print statement later. But currently, your program should be interpretable. So in order to make your program interpretable, you can quickly put an alternative statement, which is known as a pass statement, which does absolutely nothing. It just ensures that your program follows the appropriate syntax and it can be interpreted and it can be processed. Is that clear? So let's say if I run this, so a range object is going to be created and there is no syntax error in the program. Now what we can do, we can quickly replace this line later, let's say with a print state, and we are going to print. So we can get the output. Is that clear? Please confirm me on chat if pass statement is clear to all of you. ठीक है, दोबारा मैं रिपीट कर देता हूँ एक बार. देखो क्या होता है, जैसे मान लो आप एक लॉजिक लिख रहे हो, ठीक है। मैंने कहा a वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू 10, b वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू 20, ओके। अब मैं यहाँ पे c इज इक्वल टू a प्लस b लिखना चाहता हूँ, ओके। बट let's say as of now I'm not sure with the logic, okay, and I'm going to print the value of a comma b, or else let's say c. Initially we are going to define c is equal to 0. So if I run this program as of now, if I run this now, अभी अगर हम इसको रन करते हैं तो हमारे पास c वैल्यू 0 आ गई। मान लो मैं कहूँ मेरे पास ये कमेंट स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, ओके। अब अगर मैं इस प्रोग्राम को रन करता हूँ तो आपको यहाँ पे if I run this program like this, if we are printing it, in order to ensure कि ठीक है, हमें दोबारा जब हम इस प्रोग्राम को रिकॉल करेंगे, ठीक है, जब भी हमें इस प्रोग्राम को रिकॉल करना पड़ेगा, so what we can do, we can write a pass statement here, and pass statement will be an alternative where I can remember that I am going to specify a logic here and then I am going to process it. So जब हम सिंगल लाइन स्टेटमेंट्स लिखते हैं तब तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तब तो आप अगर यहाँ पे स्टेटमेंट ना भी लिखो तो कोई इशू नहीं आएगा, ठीक है, द प्रोग्राम विल रन सक्सेसफुली। बट अगर मान लीजिए आप कोई लूप लिख रहे हैं, ठीक है, सपोज अगर मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ फॉर नंबर इन रेंज 10 to 20, okay, and if I have to write logic for loop here, if I run this now, I'm going to land up into a syntax error because this loop statement needs that there should be a statement within this block which is going to be executed, okay. So let's say if I don't know the logic as of now and later I'm going to get the logic, so what I can do temporarily, I can use this pass statement so that हमारे प्रोग्राम के सिंटेक्स इश्यूज खत्म हो जाए, ओके। वी विल नॉट लैंड अप इनटू सिंटेक्स एरर दिस टाइम, और लेटर व्हेन वी गेट द लॉजिक तो हम इस पास स्टेटमेंट को रिप्लेस कर देंगे अपने लॉजिक से। लेट्स से मैं प्रिंट करना चाहता हूँ तो मैंने वैल्यू प्रिंट कर दिया और मैंने उस पास स्टेटमेंट को रिप्लेस कर दिया। अभी समझ में आ गया ये बात? Is this clear? Okay, now, so that's how you have these statements. Then in the next segment, you have to define the functions, as well as there are a couple of more topics which we will be covering, like more on defining functions, how Python functions are defined, how input and output is taken. So writing functions will get started in the next section. Okay, because it's a long topic, so we'll be starting it in the upcoming session tomorrow. And there is one more thing which I would like to let you all know. Tomorrow, there will be no physical session at Noida. The session will be conducted online. So all the participants, those who go to Noida office, tomorrow the office is closed. You have to stay back at home and you have to connect the online meeting from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. So guys, that's all for the day. Thank you for being available. And I will be sharing the video of today's session shortly on your Trello cards. And make sure you guys have marked your checklists. Okay. So you all have to open Trello cards. Open your Trello cards and mark your checklists. Okay. So guys, you have to reach out to your Trello cards and mark your checklists here. So we all are done with numbers, we're done with strings, we're done with list, we're done with if statement, for statements, range functions. We have reached till here. Is that clear? Everybody has to mark your checklist. Okay, all of you, please mark your checklists. I cannot see Sharad Pathak attending. Harshita Singh, please mark your checklist. Uday Virat, please mark your checklist. Okay, that's fine now. So let's continue in the next session. Thank you so much, guys, for being available.